We have the newspapers in the studio. Mamavi will start with her favorite, The Chronicle. That's what you started with yesterday.
No, I'm not sure, but I like The Chronicle.
I monitored you yesterday morning. It was a Chronicle.
Really?
But doesn't matter, does it?
Let me do the Chronicle newspaper. Front page of the Chronicle. GES probes WASSCE defecation. You remember that story yesterday about the boy who was sitting for the exams, who would not be allowed to go to the toilet, so he had to do it on himself. Well, we're told that the Ghana Education Service is interested in the matter and they're investigating it. Also, SNIT boss joins NPP. Raised that story on page 2 of the paper. It says that some staff members of the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SNIT, have questioned the appropriateness of the National Deputy Human Resource Manager, Mr. Kinsley Ejemenu's decision to engage in active partisan politics while in office. This issue is definitely coming up again. Remember that election 2016 is just next year. Man 45 hangs himself in police inspectors Bangalore. How did this happen? A bit of it for you. And it says that a 45-year-old man from Kasaping in the Sunafo North municipality in the Bonohafo region, Kennedy Jampio, has hanged himself at a police inspector's Bangalore at MIM, also in the Bonohafo region. The MIM police told the Chronicle that the deceased was brought from his hometown to stay with his brother, who lives at MIM but works at Kasaping. All right, so the police inspectors, the reason the gentleman was with the police inspectors because they're related. So this is not like a criminal who was arrested and ended up in the police inspectors Bangalore. Also, Flagstaff House is refugee camp for perceived corrupt ministers. Professor Kwesi Yanka saying a lot of things yesterday. A lot of people saying he's hit the nail right on the head, but others not so excited about his comments. But he's trending, really. You can read the details in the Chronicle. Back page of the Chronicle newspaper. Lai Kinson returning to Oli. Jordan in League One team of the week, and criticisms against me unfairly. That's coming from the Black Stars goalkeepers trainer Nassam Yakubu. All right, that's it for the Chronicle newspaper. Roland, you've got what paper?
I've got the Ghanaian Times on the front page. Methodist University College of Ghana to increase intake to repay loan if. The story is on page 4 of the paper. We also have court to rule on Dr. Gaba's application. Driver defiles 2 girls, or 2 pupils, infects 1 with an STD. And we also have Avedakpa police scare criminals of cells empty of suspect, and in the editorial, investigate corruption within boss BDCs. Back page. While communities hit by storm and estate developers mass replant trees, we're told. Nana Kweju Opei the 4th, chief of Somanya in the Yellow Krobo district of the Eastern region, saying this.
All right, let me do the Daily Graphic newspaper. Front page of the Daily Graphic. Chibok schoolgirls rescued from Boko Haram. That's the big question, but in the news, we told you that the girls, they have rescued some women and girls, but it's not the Chibok girls. Also, Koforidua Court restrains Nua family and man 26 arrested with we in pillows. But the banner headline, Vets Shrash appointees, others, shots can Dapa advocates. And it says that the current system by which the president solely appoints heads of investigative and accountability institutions denies those appointees the independence to hold government officials accountable for their actions, 2 former public officials have observed. So a former commissioner of Shrash, which is Justice Emil Short, and a former chairman of the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament, Albert Kandapa, who criticized the arrangement, said appointments to those positions should be made through a system of vetting to get independent, fair-minded and competent professionals to man those institutions. Let the arguments begin. What difference would it make? A lot of people will be asking right now. But back page of the Daily Graphic newspaper, rainstorm displaces residents of Wa, and students kick against payment of utility bills. That will be it for the front and back pages, or back page of the Daily Graphic with the headlines.
Okay, and we have on the front page of the Daily Guide, Doomsaw badge coming, the K-Power badge finally, the Lebanon power badge to produce 200 megawatts of power. Currently it's in Lebanon. I'm told that very soon it will be in Ghana. Mama V will not be stressed again as far as the current power outage is concerned. Corruption level alarming. We're having this being so Professor Yanka of the Central University College, a new twist in pastor's wife's death, and the story is on page 7 of the paper.
Here's the Finder newspaper front page of the Finder. Labour to resist government, says IMF's 13% wage increase proposal is suicidal. Also, ICU calls for summit on Doomsaw. And 395 die in road crashes during first quarter of 2015. New EC boss, Mahama will not bow to pressure, says the General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress, Johnson Asiedu Nketia. HFC Bank shareholders offered 1.95 Ghana cedis per share. And these are the headlines on the front page of the Finder newspaper. You can grab it and read details of it.
Okay, so we have on the front page of the New Statesman full report of EC Reforms Committee, and we also have Boss Money for Mahama 2016 campaign. Workers fight MD over $650,000 US shady deal with TSL. We also have other stories there. Back page, that fight is coming on. Manny Pacquiao and Mayweather. Okay, according to the polls now, we have about 57% of the Americans, the American public, that's a boxing public, wanting Pacquiao, Mayweather to win, but we have extra 43 who seem to want Pacquiao to win so that they shut their mouth of
Mayweather.
He's always on social media displaying his wealth, I guess.
I listened to Pacquiao this morning on the BBC, and I'm here at the website. It says Floyd Mayweather and Manny were greeted by thousands of fans in Las Vegas as they arrived ahead of Saturday's super fight at MGM Grand. You know, he said that I'm 100% ready. And he says, I'm the one fighting, so relax. And he's told his fans not to get nervous. But I am on the corner. I mean, I think there's a promo that says, whose corner are you in? I guess I'm in the Pacquiao corner. Man, I want him to win. Okay.
You want Pacquiao to win?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the whole romantic fairy tale thing about the grass to grace person. You know?
Yeah. And some people, you know, when you look at the two, really, you will think that
but actually, it seems that
Pacquiao is older. That's what you would think.
But really,
is that what you think?
No.
Okay, because he is
this guy is
36 and Mayweather is 38, so Mayweather is older. But wow. I guess some people.
And Mayweather is the taller of the two, I believe.
Okay, just slightly taller, slightly.
Slightly, and he has more reach, I'm told.
Well, I don't know. More reach in terms of what?
In terms of his hand. I hope that Mayweather gets beaten, though. I don't know how it is. Let's see how it goes.
Okay, let me do the front page of the Today newspaper. The Today newspaper, I think maybe 99% of the time, you would see Kwesi Ndum on the front page, and there's a story about him. This one says why Ndum will be the best president of Ghana in 2016. New EC boss must be non-partisan. There's a picture of President John Mahama there. If you like, trying to figure something out, really. And I don't know why we're making so much noise about EC boss this time around. Somebody made a very important contribution yesterday that there are EC bosses in the regions as well. It looks like nobody's talking about them.
They have regional bosses.
Yes, nobody cares about them.
Yes.
But we're talking about the ultimate boss whose office is in Accra, who may not necessarily have anything to do with the grassroots. Exactly. I think the party should be rather interested in those down there, you know, because you know what your uncle says, that elections are won at the polling stations, and I'm talking about your uncle Benefson.
Yeah.
Elections
he always
are
says
won
that
at the
if you don't
stations.
monitor well, I mean, you have no one to blame.
Yeah. But it looks
monitor the numbers
Yeah.
and make sure that same number goes to the top.
people are thinking about the strong room,
Yeah.
and that's where the EC boss comes in, and that's where the link is. And
Well,
we
very
don't
good
know.
morning to you, Ben Efson. You're the managing editor for the Daily Dispatch, and also SY Samuel Yorkedu, Mr. Samuel Yorkedu, formerly of the Electoral Commission. You're the finance director, and I say have a good morning as well. You were also director for the Ashanti region during the 2004 elections, I believe.
Okay. All right. So you know how we have our power crisis, and
You're still having
some
power-
people.
I haven't had power well for the last 3 days.
Now
You're still having
it is strictly the 24/12.
Uh-huh.
So you're 24 off, and you're 12
That's why I keep
on.
wondering. I said,
So if you're 24 off today, you'd go home to darkness, but you would go back home tomorrow, Thursday, to the darkness again. Because
how
by
do
the
you- how
time
do
you
get
get
these
home,
things, you have consultants at the ECG.
no, I
to
don't. You just have to monitor it.
observe.
By the time you, okay, yeah, by the time you get home, the lights would have been off, because then your 12 hours will be 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Yeah, that's it. That's how it works.
I tell you, you
But
can't get this
this
tip
is-
anywhere apart from here.
But you know, I have been observing closely, and in my area, it doesn't even go off at 6 p.m. It goes like a quarter to 6. So if you go home at 5:30 and you're trying to rush through and
so you can
blend
get-
a few things before 6, you will
And the
not be
sad
so
thing is, you
lucky.
can't blend those things down too.
Because where would you keep them?
Yeah.
Yeah, but let me tell you, some people feel that the situation is Ghana, and sometimes people will mention South Africa. Well, in Venezuela, there is a special case as well, and here's what they're doing. They're cutting working hours to tackle the energy crisis. Amazing. Is that something that we could do? But Venezuela says it will cut the working day for public sector workers to 5.5 hours to conserve energy, down from 8 to 9 hours.
And they're also
Amazing.
asking citizens to augment power supply with the use of generator sets or gen sets.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the situation happening elsewhere. We're done with the newspapers. It's now your job. If you're interested in any of the headlines, please go to the newsstands and grab that paper and then read. But we'll bring you sports. Kwame Jumachiman is standing by. The Manny Pacquiao and Mayweather bout is trending. But noise pollution is increasingly becoming a major problem facing many residents in Ghana's major cities and towns. This seems to have overwhelmed local authorities, who seem helpless at addressing the rising menace. Angelina Mensah is the Deputy Director of Public Affairs at the Environmental Protection Agency. She will join us to discuss the issue of noise in Ghana. That is what is happening on our show today. Also,
The Polytechnic Teachers Association of Ghana, POTAC, they've called on government to pay their 2014-2015 book and research allowances as listed in the association's conditions of service. According to POTAC, any delay in the payment of the allowances is mounting tension on various polytechnic campuses. And the Vice Chairman of the Accra Polytechnic branch of POTAC, Dan Osabute, will be explaining their position to us right here in the studio.
well, Kwamina Amankwa Esiama is a member of parliament for Fantiakwa North constituency in the Eastern region. He's also a member of the committees of finance and foreign affairs. Also, Ebenezer Oklete Telabi is a member of parliament for Lower Manya Krobo constituency, also in the Eastern region. So the Eastern region greatly representing here on AM Talk today. If you've got concerns in that region, please pass it on. We'll run it by them. Let's find some answers for you.
We're going to have a drive-by as well, and Roverman production team, they'll be in the studio to tell us the next few days what they have for us. You can see Uncle Ebo White there. He does everything for them.
Yeah, they're going to the region, so we'll tell you when the
we have
bus is
some
stopping.
characters also chasing others.
Yeah.
But I know the one chasing. Smart. Nia Kofi Smart, Abi. How do you play a character chasing people around? I'll say I won't play the character.
Yeah, and that's always my favorite bit, the end dance. And in their last play, they had a fantastic
I love the
dance.
women swinging, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, I know. I know what your taste is like.
Oh.
Okay, we have to make way for Kwame Juma. He's got sports. Remember that the English Premier League gradually is coming to an end. Just a few more games. Chelsea, they've won, but Liverpool seem to be out of the Champions League next season.
We'll say what Kwame Ajiman seems to think about it, since he's a supporter of West Ham United.
Really?
Yeah.
Who supports West Ham in Ghana?
Kwame, who do you?
All right, stay with us. We've got sports just around the corner.
Portsmouth, Bournemouth.
Like, seriously?
Bournemouth, the new qualifiers into the league. Well, he will tell us a lot more about the English league and the other leagues, because we know Barcelona, they've opened a 5-gap lead over Real Madrid, who will also be playing today.
Yeah.
So
So more right after this.
okay.